Good morning, Hojo staff, students, and families. Today is August 13th in 2020, and it is our first day of school. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mrs. Hillock, and I'm principal of the school. And every day we start our school day together. Usually it's everyone, all students, all grades, all together. But unfortunately, because of the situation, everyone's at home, staying safe, that we're going to do our announcements every day together on video until we can do them all together in person. So we start our day every day with the Pledge of Allegiance. So wherever you are, if you're watching this video, please stand and place your right hand over your heart. You can see the flag in the distance there and behind me. And we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance together, and then the preamble to the Constitution of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. So, good morning, everyone. I'll set my video down here and talk to you a little bit because we had 300 students last year. This year we have 414, I think. So a fourth of you have never done announcements with us before. And so I want to go over a little bit about what we do. So like I said, every day we start with the pledge and the preamble, which you'll learn. And then we make some announcements, things that are going on, birthdays, that sort of thing. And then we also listen to some music. That would be a piece of classical music that's been a piece of great music that has been throughout time proven to be a great selection for us to know. We also study great works of art. We recite poetry. And we recite some of our nation's documents. So our students last year learned the Declaration of Independence, you learned the Gettysburg Address, and like I said, the preamble to the Constitution. And we'll learn some new things this year as well. So there were no birthdays today. Now I know a lot of you had a birthday, and our announcements sort of got cut off at the end of the year without a lot of to do. It just kind of ended because of the shutdown in Gallup. And so I'm sorry about that. And for those whose birthdays I did not get to say your birthday on the announcements, I'm sorry. Happy birthday to you. And we'll start over and see if we can get this whole year, get everybody in this year. So there are no birthdays today from students who were here last year. Maybe you're a new student and your birthday is today, and I'm sorry we didn't have that on a piece of paper. Mrs. Green's going to print me out a new list, and we'll start announcing birthdays from here. So how about we listen to some music? Now, Mrs. Neff has put some selections on our site. We have a Hojo channel on YouTube, and all of last year's selections are there. So this was the selection, I'm going to play it for you, that we listened to the very first day of school last year. And we've listened to it many times since then. But see if you can remember what the very first song was that we listened to together. Ready? Oh, I love listening to that in the car in the morning. I'll give you a hint. When I'm driving to work, I put that on, sort of puts me in the right mood to come to work and start my day. All right, for those of you who were students here last year, tell me, what were we listening to? Did you say Edvard Grieg is the composer, and the name of the piece was Peer Gynt Suite No. 1, Morning? That's right, morning. It's about starting something fresh, right? Good choice, Mrs. Neff, for the start of a new school year last year, and we're playing it again this year because it's the start of something new. It's like the morning of the new school year, and we're just waking up, just getting started, seeing what this day is going to bring, and each day has lots of promise of all the good things that can happen. And so it's a great way to start a day. Edvard Grieg's Peer Gynt Suite No. 1, Morning. And I challenge you, if you happen to be watching TV, that there is a commercial that's out right now that's been playing all sorts of different channels that uses that song in the background. See if you can find it. Not encouraging you to watch too much TV though, and even worse, commercials. But if you happen to see it. Okay, so that was music. Next we talk about art. And so normally I have a big piece of art to show you, and I have it on the wall behind me. But today I had a special piece that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't have it framed. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it if I put all my papers together. I'm going to hold it up. It might be familiar to you. I'm going to cover my own face so you can see it. Nice and close. Do you know what that is a picture of? Who do you think this person is that's standing up here? Nice and tall. Do you know who that is? It's George Washington? Yes. So this is a picture, a painting, this is a picture of a painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. So crossing the Delaware by the artist is an American artist, Emanuel Leutze. Emanuel Leutze. Washington crossing the Delaware. Painted in 1851. And the interesting thing is that it is depicting, or it is a painting that was done of a time before 1851. So 1851 sounds like it was a long time ago, and it was. But this is a painting of Christmas Eve, 1776. So it's interesting that people were painting this day that many years later, and that we're still enjoying this painting today. It's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. You can go see it. It's a humongous painting. Takes up the whole wall. And it depicts a point in time, I'm going to set it down, that Washington was crossing the Delaware. Now remember, so that was Christmas Eve, 1776. Students who were here last year and Superstar students who are just joining us now. What happened July 4, 1776? Why is that date important? Yes, I'm sure you were all screaming it out because everyone celebrates July 4th. It was Independence Day, the day that the United States declared independence from which country? England, right? Or Great Britain. And we were how many colonies at the time? 13. That's correct. 13 colonies. And we decided that we were going to break away from the British government because we didn't feel like we were being treated fairly. So the ancestors who lived here at that time decided that they were going to declare their independence, which meant that they were going to go to war, and with England, which was the greatest superpower in the world. And I think about that and think about how in our colonies we had farmers, we had silversmiths, and we had blacksmiths, and we had some merchants. We didn't have an army. And so all these people who lived here in our country decided we were going to declare independence and that we were going to go to war. But we were just a small little country. It's not even a country, just our colonies. not a lot of resources, not a lot of money, not a lot of things to go up against the greatest power in the world at the time. Sort of like our Hojo basketball team, which is just a mix of all of our grades up to 6th grade, a few people dribbling a basketball going up to the First Baptist Church once a week, and we say, hey, we're going to take on the Boston Celtics. And if you don't win, then the penalty is death, because that was what would happen for those people who took on the greatest superpower. So Hojo basketball team taking on the Boston Celtics, and if they lose, it's a deadly price. So they struggled, and eventually they did win, obviously, so we became our own country. But this is a painting that's sort of in the middle of all of that happening. And so Washington was crossing the Delaware. Things were looking pretty bad at that time. We were losing the war at that point. It was winter, and I think if you look at the painting, you can see ice in the water. And it's Christmas Eve, and normally you think of Christmas Eve being all cozy and warm and thinking about the next day and spending it with families, when these were soldiers who were outside in the weather, and they didn't have proper clothing, they didn't have proper food, and they were fighting for this cause that probably didn't seem very likely that they were going to win. And so instead of a poem today, I'm going to share with you a piece of writing from Thomas Paine, who was a famous patriot at the time of the Revolution, wrote lots of pamphlets to try to encourage people and to show the different points of view. And so he wrote this the day before the day of that picture. And so George Washington read it to the troops who were there at the time. And so instead of a poem today, I'm going to read to you from Thomas Paine in his pamphlet called The Crisis. The Crisis. What's a crisis? We're sort of in a crisis right now, aren't we? In a world pandemic. It's a crisis. There's a really, really big problem that's causing a lot of other problems. And it's a terrible situation usually. So a crisis is something that is a terrible problem. So he titled this basically The Terrible Problem. And Washington read this to his soldiers. And he starts off this pamphlet, these words, this essay that Washington shared with these words. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. And so these were words of encouragement to the soldiers, because he was saying, you're not a summer soldier, you're not a sunshine patriot, you're a winter warrior. When things are easy, it's easy to go along with things. But when it's hard, that's when you got to dig down and work really hard to achieve things. And the greater the difficulty, the greater the glory and triumph of a victory, right? If the Hojo basketball team did actually beat the Boston Celtics, that would be a huge victory, wouldn't it? And so Thomas Paine is telling us, and he's saying that things that we work really hard to achieve are very valuable to us. So what do you think about that? If we can think about Washington crossing the Delaware in the middle of the night, struggling, keeping going, focused on his goal, and think about us this year. What does it mean for you as a student this year? So there's likely to be some challenges. We don't get to come to school as like we used to. Maybe you haven't seen your friends in a long time and you would really like to go on that playground and play with them. Because I sit right here, playground's right there. It's empty. It's been empty for a long time. Love to see my friends out there playing and having a good time out there. One day that may happen again, but right now, this is the winter season where we're trying to work really hard and we have to be winter warriors and get through this. And so there may be times that it's really, really challenging. Maybe you don't want to have to try to figure out what to do on the Canvas site, or you're worried about it. So that's when we dig down deep. And when we come out on the other side, someday when we're allowed to come back and have kids in our classroom and go out and play on the playground and learn about great things and be able to interact together, then we will say we worked really, really hard and be really proud of ourselves for the work that we did this year. So be thinking about that as we start our school year. So some announcements. If you're watching this through Canvas, hooray! I'm so glad that we were able to get it to you on Canvas. If you're watching it through YouTube, great too. There's another way. So if we can't get it done one way, we work around, get it done another way. Chromebooks. Many people told me they were all set with Chromebooks and they didn't really need one, but things have changed, and many people now are telling me that they need to have Chromebooks. So because I didn't order for everyone to have one, just for those who the percentage of people I thought would need them, we're going to distribute the Chromebooks we have, one per family, until the new ones come in. And we're going to start Chromebooks because they have a keyboard for typing. We're going to start the Chromebooks for 2nd grade and up. For kindergarten and 1st grade, we're going to use tablets. That way you can do touchscreen, and it will be a little bit easier to do the things you need to do and get around without having to type words yet while we practice learning words. So 2nd grade, if you have a student in 2nd grade, we're going to start at 9 o'clock. Parents can come 9 to 10 for 2nd grade, 10 to 11 for 3rd, 11 to 12 for 4th, 12 to 1 for 5th, 1 to 2 for 6th, and 2 to 3 p.m. for 7th grade. You can come any of those times. If you have one person in your family who is a student in that grade level, you can come as early as and pick up for the first person in your family, the youngest person in your family. So kindergarten and 1st grade, I will let you know when the tablets come in. They're not here yet. Everyone else can send somebody to the school during those hours to pick up a Chromebook for one per family, and then hopefully next week we'll be able to get everybody all set up with more. You should get a login from Canvas to tell you how to access it. That will be coming today if it hasn't already arrived to you. If you don't receive it, let me know. If there is a delay, I will send out an email blast to everybody. So no need to worry. There's no pressure for the first few days to accomplish a task. It's mainly just logging in, seeing your teacher, listen to the video or read the post that your teacher put there, and there's probably one thing that you need to do, like talk to your teacher, tell your teacher something about you. And so once you do that, then you're all done, and we're just going to continue to do little things so we practice using Canvas until we get really good at it. We are going to have to do some testing, which we'll see how that works, and then hopefully we'll get you your kits for all of your literature. So very exciting. If you are in 5th grade, I think it is Secret Garden, the Aladdin stories for 3rd grade. I believe it's Robin Hood that comes first for 4th grade. So we need to get those books to you along with lots of other things that you're going to need for the 1st quarter. And we'll tell you when those things are ready. So I think that's all we have for announcements today. I'm very glad that you could join me and watch the video and join me with the pledge and to learn a little bit today. And every morning we'll meet back here. It'll be posted so that you can start your day at 8:30 if you wish and work through all of your assignments that your teachers have posted. And I hope that you have a great year of learning and growing and making new friends, even if it is in a very different way this year. So every day we end our morning assembly with our student pledge. So if you've been a student with us before, let's say our student pledge together. I will do the good, I will learn the true, and I will love the beautiful. And I hope you have a great first day.